Good day, everyone. I am Dr. Ray Palses, and today's lecture will be on idealism. May I please remind everyone, my dear students, that today's lecture and discussion will only be fully, let's say, understandable if you have done your part, which is to abide by the main readings as indicated in our module. So I expect that when you listen to our brief discussions, uh, these uh, these recordings uploaded, that you have already a good knowledge on the topics, the philosophical concepts, so that you can follow my discussions in the videos. Okay, I hope we are all clear on that. Um, Today's lesson is about an enduring philosophy of education that from most textbooks and most scholars of philosophy of education, they would consider this as the perhaps oldest tradition of philosophy that has continuously affected educational approaches and frameworks up to this day. And this is idealism. And to understand this and to discuss this, we need to talk about one very important question that I think is something that teachers nationwide has perhaps experienced or at least heard of. And this is a very, very important question, especially on women. And the question is this: kailangan mo ba talagang mag-lipstick habang nagtuturo? All right, that's the problem I want to solve with you today. That's it. Once we solve that problem and we've answered that question, that's it. That's the end of my lecture, my video, my discussion. Okay? Kailangan ba talagang mag-lipstick ni teacher sa loob ng classroom? And I have heard so many stories about this from my students before. Of course, they are grad students in education, so they're out on the field and they experiences their coordinator, their principals reminding them, hey, you're not wearing any lipstick, you should wear lipstick. Or sometimes it's too much lipstick and they're reminded not to, wear too much or this or that particular shade of lipstick. And this is the point we're going to explore today. But in order to address this properly in the context of our topic, we have to go way back into the past. And we're going to talk about 3,000, around more than 3,000 years ago, actually even maybe 1,000 years before Christ was born. We're going to talk about ancient Greece, particularly the first two of the three greatest thinkers of Athens. We have Socrates and Plato. Now, there have been always a question on what Socrates said and what Plato said and how they are different and how they are the same. And for this discussion, let's first talk about what we call the Socratic problem. Now, the Socratic problem is actually not a philosophical problem. It's a historiographical problem. The problem is, how do historians separate Socrates from Plato? What did Plato really say? What did Socrates really say? What did Socrates really think? What did Plato really think? The most the safest assumption that we can have and what we will adopt for today's discussion is that these two are actually inseparable. The problem with Socrates is his only existence is attributed to two recounts or accounts of two different writers, and one of them is Plato, and that's it. He doesn't exist in any other text except for Plato, and there's this other historian from Greece. So today we will sidestep the Socratic problem and not engage it, because that's again a problem for historians. And today we're just going to assume that Socrates and Plato, they have the same thoughts. Okay, so I hope you can forgive me for that. But in order to push through our discussion, that is a very good and productive assumption, as I hope you will see. Okay, so Socrates was what are your, if you were an animal, let me ask you this question. If you were an animal, which senator are you? No, I'm kidding. That's not. My question is, if you were an animal, um, what animal? Which animal would you like to be? You know, so some of you might answer, I want to be a butterfly. I want to be an eagle. You know, I want to be a dinosaur. I want to be a lion. You know, these very inspiring, intimidating, symbolic animals of courage, of freedom, and all those kinds of things. Can you guess what kind of animal Socrates thought himself to be? You know, what did he call himself? Well, he called himself the gadfly of Athens. Now, sa Tagalog, bangaw. Langaw. Langaw is, housefly. But horsefly or gadfly is a much bigger version of a housefly. And that's actually what was written. He thought of himself as the gadfly of Athens. Now, why did he consider himself not the lion of Athens, not the owl? You know, owls are supposed to be smart and all that. But he wanted to be the gadfly of Athens. This is because flies, yung mga langaw sa ating mga bahay, hindi ba, they have this one thing that we all agree with, is that they are annoying. They are super annoying. You know, they go to your food, they go to your face, they go to your open mouth or whatever. It's not pleasant when they are around. Okay? So flies are unpleasant. And gadflies are even more or twice or double or triple unpleasant than the usual. And that's just how annoying Socrates wanted to become. And there are so many stories actually on how he can be this annoying. One story that's important for our conversation today is that time when he met, Socrates waking up, walking around early, and he found one young man in front of the courts of Athens. Now, this young man looked like he was serious, so he was the perfect target for this intellectual, painful person, Socrates. So Socrates approached him, said, "Hey, young man, what are you?" Of course, I'm paraphrasing. What are you doing in front of the courts? Well, sabi nung binata, I am going to file a case. Against who? Against my father. And then Socrates was really interested because, he's going to sue his own dad. And so Socrates asked, well, you must be serious. And the youth said, yeah, of course I'm serious. What file will you, what case will you file against him? And the youth said, I'm gonna charge him with impiety. Okay, impiety. That's the opposite of piety. And of course, nowadays we consider piety or define piety as being religious or being a good person. But back then it's just generally being a good person. Okay, it's nothing to do with religion because religion was not a social construct back then, not like now. Okay, so anyway, he said, I'm going to charge my own dad with impiety. All right, so this young man is thinking his dad, his father is not a good person. And so Socrates said, well, since you're serious about it, you must know what good means, this term, this word. And the young man said, yeah, of course I do. I know what good means. And so Socrates asked him, what is good? All right. And this is the part of the conversation that we can have, our own versions of, and we can have very many different versions across our civilization's history. And trying to answer this question, what is good? But up to this day, there are so many problems with this question. And one possible conversation that we imagined that they had as they continued this exchange is that the young man could have said that, for example, well, the good is not harming other people, right? Perhaps his dad has harmed someone or a group of people. And it's easy to rebut that, knowing Socrates. Socrates would probably just say, well, what if you need to hurt someone in order to stop that person from doing a bigger harm to himself, right? Now you have to hurt someone. And so we imagined that young man would have retracted his answer or improved his answer, saying that, okay, well then if you can only hurt a person if you have greater good inside as your intention. Now, of course, Socrates would then ask perhaps, what if you accidentally harmed someone? Is that already bad? Is that already evil? And then again, the youth would reconstruct his answer, would withdraw his answer, and this exchange would go on and on. And actually, that's what happened. In the story, the youth was so frustrated and was so annoyed that he thought, okay, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. And then what happened was he went home without filing anything. And so that's classic Socrates. That's his character, and that's how annoying he could get. And then there's this another story that could help us understand uh, the mindset of Socrates. There's this another young man who went to the oracle of Delphi, of Apollo. I'm sorry, the oracle of. Do you know what an oracle is, ladies and gentlemen? An oracle is a woman who has special abilities. An oracle is a woman who knows everything. Okay, an oracle is a woman who's always right, no matter what. Basically, she's your wife. All right, she's your wife. That's what an oracle is. She's never wrong, and even if she is, don't tell her. No, I'm kidding. An oracle. Let's get back to an oracle is a powerful, gifted individual who's always a woman, and she's always right. She knows the future, the past, everything. She knows everything. And so this young man went to that oracle and asked her, okay, who's the wisest of all Athens? Because Athens is a city of scholars. And so the young man heard the answer of the oracle. The oracle said, the wisest of all Athens is Socrates. Okay, and then the young man, to be honest, I don't know what he did, but somehow the news, that event, got to Socrates. Okay, he heard about what happened. I guess he was surprised at first, but he had the perfect explanation. He said, well, I am the wisest of all Athens because I know that I don't know anything. Yeah, so I guess you teachers are quite familiar with this part of Socrates' story, right? This is called Socratic ignorance. And I bet many of you misunderstand what this means. I've encountered many teachers who use this part of Socrates' life to teach about humility, all right? To teach about the need to have this drive for learning, right? It's a positive thing. All right, Socratic ignorance teaches us that the first step towards knowing things is to admit with humility, okay, that you know nothing. But the last person on earth that is humble is Socrates. Okay, Socrates is a complete, he's not the character to be humble. So what did he mean by that? That he is the smartest because he knows that he doesn't know anything. Well, it's a word play, actually, which is something he's very good at. So in his mind, and we can return to the story of the young man trying to sue his father. If you remember that story, the young man thought he knew what good meant. He thought he knew that good means this or that. But Socrates showed him, no, you don't know. You actually don't know what good means. All right? So in the end, the young man realized, well, he probably doesn't know what good means. But from the very start, Socrates knew that neither of them knew what good meant. All right? So I hope you can put that together and realize that Socrates wasn't being humble. Actually, he was taunting. He was insulting the city of scholars, the city of thinkers, the city of politicians, the city of not senators, but the city of discoverers and academics. He was trying to offend them and insult them by saying that, well, I'm the only one who does not pretend to have knowledge. Everyone else thinks they know something, but the truth is, the moment they debate me, I can show them that they don't know what they're talking about. All right? So it's like this. In Socrates' head, he thought that all of us don't know anything. All right? But I am the smartest because at least I know that. The rest of you, you don't know that. You're living a lie, an illusion. All right. You think you know something, and that's why I'm a one step or one thing more smarter than you, because one level smarter than you, because at least I know one thing that I don't know anything. The rest of you, you don't know that. So that's the wordplay that Socrates employed in that famous Socratic ignorance story, part of the stories about Socrates. Okay. Um, so you may want to reflect on that for now. I'll give you maybe, or you can just pause and then get back to the recording once you're ready, when we go to the next topic. Thank you.